Of all the streets in London, Catherine wondered why Pall Mall Street had to be one of the first to be fixed with gaslit street lamps. She swore under her breath, trying to skirt the brighter-than-average light so she could cling to Lyle's shadow. Considering that he stood no more than a hand taller than her and was much thinner, his form didn't help to camouflage hers. Not for the first time, she wished for her sister's slight heights. Even in a grey dress that blended with the twilight shadows, Catherine was far too recognisable. An earl's daughter shouldn't be seen alone with a man late at night. Although Catherine didn't care a whit for the ton's gossip about her, she didn't want her notoriety to reflect poorly on her sisters. Lyle glanced over at her quirky movements as she tried to keep to his shadow, and laughed. "You're far more conspicuous while trying not to be noticed than you would be if you'd only walk next to me like usual."
Why in tarnation would the founders think it a splendid idea to host secret society meetings on such a busy street?
Gaslights didn't exist when the society was founded. Besides, if you'd been a bit quicker, we might have been able to reach the meeting before the lamps were lit for the night. He was right. If Emma and Mrs. Pickering hadn't delayed her, they might have arrived half an hour earlier. Lyle lengthened his stride to step over a puddle. When he offered his hand, she handed him the sheaf of papers, lifted her skirts above her ankles, and hopped over the obstacle by her own merit. Her friend returned the pages without comment. As they resumed their quick gait, he asked, "Why did Mrs. Pickering seek you out?"
"How do you know she didn't come knocking on my door to speak of ladies' undergarments?"
Lyle turned as red as a plum and tried to hide his face beneath the fringe of his hair. "I merely had a question to further my research. Perhaps it was a bit inappropriate."
Catherine took pity on him and added, "She has a matchmaking job for me."
"Ah, so you had to turn her away?"
"Quite the contrary. I accepted."
Lyle looked incredulous. "Accepted? But you're no matchmaker."
Catherine reared up. "I did admirably with my sisters, but I don't mean to facilitate the match if I can help it. If I'm known for anything, I do not want it to be for matchmaking."
"Then why pretend?"
She hugged the papers to her chest. "The pink ribbon murders, of course."
Lyle nodded. "Ah, I see."
"I've only 9 days to solve the case for Papa, and accepting the matchmaking proposal is my only way in."
Lyle motioned for her to precede him up the stairs, and she hurried to the door. A footman posted inside opened it for her and offered to take her shawl. She declined. Once she and Lyle were out of earshot and strolling the length of the narrow, dim-lit corridor that led toward the back stairs, he continued the conversation. "Why is that your only way to investigate?"
"I'm having trouble obtaining invites to these infernal parties. The matchmaking excuse may be the only chance to get most of the people that were at both parties in the same place."
Lyle mulled that over. Yes, with precious little evidence, it would be beneficial to observe the suspects. Maybe the killer will give himself away somehow.